Hey everybody, and welcome to Maine Wedding Buzz. And today our guests are from Focus Photography, and we have Lucia and Will, who are the owners and photographers. So let's get talking. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Well, Lucia and I moved back to Maine 10 years ago. And when we did, we opened Focus Photography on Commercial Street. Lucia is my co-photographer and my business partner, but she's also my best friend and my playmate and my wife.
I was going to say, your wife too, right?
Yeah, we got married and we were both from Boston originally. We got married and we ran away, first to Hawaii,
Wow.
then to San Diego, and then outside of Los Angeles. Great place, you can shoot weddings almost every weekend. But every place we'd go, our family was back here. We had a decade of just being able to just rely on each other and kind of really helped strengthen our relationship.
Wow.
And that's a really good point. I can't believe I'm stalling already. First
all
take
right.
and I'm stalling.
That's okay.
So that's a really good point. And Will and I are a couple, so we get couples. We are in love. We feel love every day, so we know how to capture love. And it's one of the driving forces behind one of our mission statements, which is that we create images for our clients that strengthen and support and reinforce their love.
And it comes from love. I think when you photograph somebody who's in love and you're in love, I think it works.
Wow, you're totally right.
So it's sort of like capturing that image and you just go, oh, I felt it too. So I don't know if that's the way you feel too, but
We do.
Did you both come together as photographers?
No,
No?
not at all. In fact, Lucia was my boss.
Really?
So I grew up with photography, but I used to read a lot of fashion magazines, and I was convinced I cared about fashion and retail. And I spent 10 years to become a buyer for a department store.
Oh, wow.
And along the way, I worked in a department store, and I came back from a vacation and had this sexy new boss in a little black skirt that I just couldn't keep my hands off of.
Wow.
Hands, literally hands. Very, very awkward moments in the stockroom.
Sorry for sharing that.
No, that's fine. So is it, I love hearing stories like that because it makes it a lot real. I mean, it's just two people behind a job, and in this industry, we're expected to constantly be happy. There's a reason why you're happy, so that's actually good to hear those things. For me, I love knowing those little backstories. So when you got started, did you get started together as photographers, like when you opened the business, or did it go right from the department store? Where did the photography come into play?
When I was in sixth grade, I went on a photography scholarship at graduation from sixth grade.
Oh, wow.
And so I spent a summer at a photography camp.
So you were always a photographer?
Yeah. My father built us a darkroom, kind of taught me how to develop my own black and white film. So I always had that kind of in my back pocket. It's something that I've loved since then.
That's not digital, that's a dark room where you actually have to process the film. So
Back in the pattern Zoic era. But, I didn't think I wanted to do it as a career.
Yeah.
I really loved these fashion magazines. So I spent 10 years doing that and realized I just loved looking at the pictures. Smarter people than me would have figured it out sooner. We were out in California, and I was shooting weddings on the weekend, and Lucia had a corporate job, and that's kind of where she kind of jumped in.
I came from a family of shutterbugs, but I really got the bug so corporate job, on my feet all day, but on the weekends was the only time I had with my husband, and he was off photographing weddings in the beautiful Southern California sunshine, so I would often go. I would carry his gear, or hold a light, or just be there for support. And one day, he put a camera in my hand and said, "This is a beautiful spot, go play and have fun." We were at this gorgeous Buddhist temple on the side of a rolling hill,
Oh, nice.
hills of LA.
Is that Pilar's wedding?
It was Pilar's wedding. And
isn't it great when you remember clients like just from a moment?
We
I
haven't
like
done a lot
that.
of
Sorry,
Buddhist
I didn't mean to
temples.
cut you off.
We haven't done a lot of Buddhist temples.
no,
But you remember
actually,
the client.
And for me, because Will counts on me to keep track of all the details, I love being able to look at our images all around the studio and know people's stories and be able to tell you people's stories. So anyway, later that afternoon, I found myself interacting with the bride, and she was being playful and silly and told me how relaxed she felt with me around. And about a week later, Will was delivering her proofs, and one of her favorite images from the whole day happened to be something that I took. And I got that feeling of, oh my
that wouldn't anger
God, I did that. I made her feel so excited about that. And that was it. From that point, I had the bug, and a few years later, Will yanked me away from the corporate world and took me into his.
So it's almost like you became a second shooter for him and got your experience that way, and then just popped right into now working together.
I know everything I know from him.
And so did you start the business right after that? Is that how that started? I mean, did you start your business in California and then move here?
Yeah, we had a business there. When we moved back to New England, we decided we wanted to have a retail storefront and not just operate as wedding photographers on the side, something that we did. And when we did that, then yes, both of us were going full time.
Is that the place in Portland?
Yeah.
Which is a great studio. I mean, your windows are phenomenal, because I've told you this before, because you have photos right in the window, floor to ceiling, and you can't miss it. So it's really good to see that. And do you change that out, I mean, with your studio?
Yeah.
And then, speaking of second shooters, do you guys use second shooters, or do you do an event and then you do an event, or do you both go to the same event? How does that work?
Really good question.
Lucia and I almost always shoot together.
Nice.
But we also have Allison, who's our assistant. She works with us full time.
Okay.
And sometimes they'll have 3 of us at a wedding. If it's a big event, we're going to have somebody just shooting flowers or details. And if it's a smaller event, it could be just one of us. Sometimes it's just Allison. Sometimes it's just me.
Which is interesting that you said the flowers, because that's important, because they put all the detail in the event as well as the wedding. And so you have the photographers at the wedding, and then what happens is half the time somebody's racing back to get photos before the guests start, disrupting the table, or Uncle Bob decides to put a glass of wine and coats start hitting the chairs. And it's really nice to have somebody come in and photograph the venue when it's looking really nice, especially after spending that much time putting it together. I mean, how do you feel about that?
So often there's places that, the aunts will get in and hang their coats ahead of time.
Pocketbooks.
So by the time anyone sees it.
I'm always running around going, can you wait a few minutes till the photographer takes photos? And they look at you like you have 4 heads.
We do like venues that kind of tie those doors shut ahead of time so that no one can get in ahead of time.
Sure,
that
makes
makes
it
our job easier
little
to get the
easier.
ballroom shots.
Nice.
But it is our job to get it done. And we do work as a team regardless. So even if you choose just Will at your event, or just me, or just Allison, you're going to work with all of us because we are a team. We all have our own strengths within the company. William is responsible for all the image editing and all the image assortment that we present to our clients. Allison is the one that retouches to make sure people are blemish-free and look their best. And I do all the client interaction. So I plan details and timelines with
So you're
all of our clients.
the first initial meeting.
I'm kind of
comes
like the
through.
point of contact, yeah.
So that's really good. So it is like a working as a team. It was one of my questions that I was going to ask about working as a team. So when you come into the office, everybody's there, but they start with you and then they work through, which is really nice.
And generally, Will and I like to meet with potential clients together because we are a unit, and I think we do our best work when we get to work together. But of course, they can choose only one of us if their budget demands it, or if their event is really intimate.
Got it. How many events do you do in a year, and how many events do you do in a day? How does that work?
Really good question.
So
Geography and timing kind of dictate some of what we can do. We'll only do 1 in a day, but sometimes we can only do 1 in a weekend. And it just depends on what's needed.
do you travel anymore, or do you just stay locally?
Well, our preference is to do things by car.
Okay.
I think I've mentioned this to you
Yeah.
before. I like to drive
Or
to wherever I'm
Hawaii.
going. I don't really love flying as
don't-
much
oh,
because
wow.
I take a lot of gear to weddings.
Oh, that's right. I never
A
thought
lot
of
of
that.
photographers just bring like one bag that just has a camera and a light. And I've got, 10 or 12 things and backups of everything that we're going to do. I've got a piece of equipment for if it's going to rain or if it's going to snow or whatever's going to happen. I've got a lot of gear. So for
So
me,
do you stay within the Maine area, or do you go into like New Hampshire? And
we'll go to Massachusetts, we'll
good.
go to Rhode Island.
Nice.
Again, I want to be able to drive to it.
Perfect.
And then drive back.
And how long, this is an interesting question for me. How long does it take to get a finished book, like an album from start to finish? You've shot the wedding, you've met the client, you've shot the wedding, and now is there a process to wait? I mean, how long does a normal
Really,
wait
really
time?
good question.
We want to make sure the marriage has set fully and that they're going to stick together before we
Nice.
deliver an album.
I like that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't you talk about this?
So within 3 weeks from the wedding date, our clients will see all of their images in an online gallery format. It has immediate downloads available for them for sharing, which they absolutely love.
Oh, so you allow sharing?
Of
That's
course.
good. Okay, cool. So
course.
that's really good.
We want them to talk about their experiences with us. And then we ask them to choose their favorite images. So whether we're going to design an album for them or make them thank you cards or both, we want to hear from them which images were their favorites. From there, we'll design and work with our clients with as many revisions as they want, no limits, no extra charges for retouching or exit sign removal or anything that's going to enhance the image. And then once we go into production, it's about 6 to 8 weeks.
That's not bad. And then and talk about a little bit. I love this album, and I wanted to show everybody. It's You'll have to talk about what this is because I can't remember everything that you said, but I think it's beautiful, and it almost feels like glass, but it's steel or
Yeah,
metal.
that's a metal print on there. So it's a piece of steel with a resin on the top of it. And the emulsion from a photograph is kind of melted right into the resin and on top of that. But more interesting is the fact that albums have changed a lot in the last decade. What publishing can do is dramatically different. We can now do these ostrich leather covers over the top of it, or we can take the colors of people's dresses or their flowers and mix a single strip of a bright pink leather into something,
wow.
so that we've got an album that more reflects their day and that's customized to them.
So I've picked my proofs. Does that mean that this comes with that, or is this something that I want to do extra and I love this, so I would say, oh, this is what I want to go. Then you start.
How would you like to do it, Fausto? We'll write
Exactly.
it up
So that's perfect. That's what I'd love to hear that kind of stuff.
All
which
of
I
our
think is,
complete collections include an album.
oh wow.
Many of our clients will upgrade their album once they've seen the images, once we've told the story.
And I've asked other photographers this: how long do you hold on to your discs? Sometimes something might happen, somebody loses images, they move, it's gotten into a box, the box has gotten ruined with water. Can they come back to you and say, I need you to do my whole album? How long do you hold on to
liability
images?
reasons, we're supposed to say we keep them for a year.
Okay.
I've never gotten rid of a negative or of an image.
So you
And
just-
the way that archiving is right now, we can store things on network servers on Google's cloud, kind of keep things forever. So we pretty much always have things. But for liability, I'm supposed to say I have it for a
A
year.
year. Okay. So a
And
year.
Will is fanatical about backups and anything related to technology. So at the end of a wedding, regardless of how long we drove and how tired we are, when he gets home, the first thing he does is he backs those images up in 2 different places. And then next day at the studio, he's backing it up in a 3rd location.
So it's protected.
So we've got a triple backup, but we always encourage to our clients that they do the same thing. Put it on a DVD and put it in Dad's safe.
So do they also get a flash drive and a DVD as well?
Entirely up to them and what they choose for their
Package.
collection.
But of course, they're going to get sharing files anyways.
Got it.
because that's kind of our best marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Most of our weddings, we get booked by word of mouth.
Exactly.
Because people want to show off their wedding images. So
And
if
you
I can
share, and everybody's
facilitate that,
sharing, and everybody's
sure,
going
I wanna
around.
help.
What's one of your favorite locations to work at, and why? What location do you say, I like working here because A, it's easy, or it's beautiful, or you can capture those really great moments?
I like to get the beach because I like to smell the salt air. But also, anytime you're on the coast,
Yeah.
you've got beautiful backdrops. You've got great scenery.
This is
For us,
beautiful.
of course,
yeah.
is that
We're
we
lucky
get
to be
hired
in
where
the state.
people want us to be in a dark ballroom, or sometimes in a parking lot, or maybe on the coast of Kennebunk. So we've got to make those same things happen if we've got the beautiful scenery, or if we don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that we'll do are a lot tighter. This shot that's over here, well, if that is on a parking lot and there's just a little tree behind it, you're never going to know.
You don't. That's a beautiful image, and I just think it's just really, it captures the photo, and everything else is sort of away, just blurred out. And you don't want to look at the backdrop, you're just looking at them, so I love that
The
look,
focus is on them. It's about their moment and their connection.
which is really sweet. What do you do about inclement weather? Does that ever affect photographers? I mean, like it affects the rest of us in the industry? I mean, how do you feel about that? Like when the bride says, oh, I don't care if it's raining, I want to shoot outside. How do you, you got...
We always tell her in advance,
Yeah.
if I'm going to take $10,000 worth of gear outside,
That's what
you're
I
going to
was-
wear your galoshes. Actually, Lucia usually plans with people ahead of
Yeah.
time because she's a worrier. This is one of her traits.
Yeah.
She worries about things in advance.
I worry.
So she's got a backup plan.
So you do an A and B plan like we do. A, good weather, B, bad weather. So you know ahead of time.
I usually have a couple of different plans. And if they're worried about it being a hot summer day, we'll go out and find parasols. If they're worried that they might get some showers, well, I'll help them find matching umbrellas and little rain galoshes with
Yeah.
sunflowers or ladybugs on their feet.
Cute.
Yeah, I mean, it's their wedding day, and we want to make the most of it. William is a maximizer. If there's an opportunity for a great shot, not only does he want to do it, but he wants to do it to the best of his ability. So being prepared for those weather conditions and having clients that are gung-ho and ready to go out and play as well, oh, we love that.
You'd be surprised how infrequently it rains when you're ready for it.
Wow.
It's just if you want a rain shot, you're not going to get it.
We did a job, and we said to the client, it was at the Portland company, we said, oh, go take some photos by the train. They're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to rain. And all of a sudden, I see them running back to those, and I'm going, crap. It's raining. So
It's good luck. Did you know it's good luck?
it is. It's always good luck for the rain on a bride's wedding day.
Lucia's Miss Positivity. There's nothing you can do on a wedding day that's not good luck.
I agree.
A magic marker comes down the side of you. She's got a culture where that is a great thing.
Potential brides don't listen to this, but I totally make up stories for them no matter what it is that's going wrong. They've got a bug and they're freaking out because there's a bug. You know what? That's really good luck. In ancient Egyptian cultures, they would actually plant a little bug within the bride because they don't want the gods to think that she's perfect and take her away.
Something.
Whatever it is, I do find a way to bring humor and
Into it.
get them to relax a little bit. They only get one day, so
There are
we
no
really want
retakes.
them to relax and enjoy and just be in the moment and enjoy the moment.
And it goes by so fast. A lot of people don't seem to understand that it goes, that 5-hour reception is gone like that, because all that a year of planning boils down to 5 hours, that boils down to realistically going very quickly. So you want to enjoy the most of it. So I agree with you.
You get filled with emotions, and that's like its own little drug.
Mm-hmm.
We always tell people, you've brought up something that's important, which is this is maybe the most expensive party you ever throw in your life. We want our clients to be there and to get the most out of it.
The most bang for their buck, almost. What's your take on first look?
Love
Love it.
Yeah.
So, that's maybe the same point. We want people the most they can be. I hate the idea of people missing their whole cocktail hour because they're off with Will and Lucia someplace.
And you can
That's
get it
a
all
sin.
done.
It's when the best appetizers are.
So that's good. Thank you.
Well, and our grooms have told us that not only do they remember it, but they are so relieved to not have the pressure of that, feeling all that emotion in front of all of their family and friends.
It's their moment. They're captured it by themselves, their time, and they don't have to share. I mean, you are sharing your day with 200 people or 150 people that might be there, but you want that one moment to be yours that day, and I think it's a great thing. I really do.
We really do love it. We're married, so that little piece of romance is important to us, and that connection.
Yeah.
Brides can walk down the aisle feeling confident, knowing he or she is going to be there for them when they get there, and it does relieve a lot of stress and makes the whole day more enjoyable.
We probably do it 80% of the time. I don't think we've ever had anyone regret
I
it.
like the
Nobody
trend.
ever
I
says,
really
oh
do.
gosh, I wish I'd waited and missed my cocktail hour.
Exactly. Tell us a little bit about the photos you're going to show us.
Okay, well,
You got the clicker.
I'm going to tell you that what Lucia and I kind of do mostly on wedding days, the thing that people hire us the most for, is for great couples images.
Nice.
Lucia maybe mentioned earlier, one of the things we're trying to do is to have images that kind of help people
Reflects
feel a little
them.
bit more romantic. And most of our clients, this is not who they are as people. They're not always just walking around staring into each other's eyes.
Yeah.
Awkward. But, something like that once in a while on the wall really kind of helps out.
It's nice, and you told me earlier that he's a fireman, and when you look at this, it's so soft that you wouldn't think that that's his profession, because firemen have to deal with a lot of things. And this is a very soft image, and it's beautiful, and it's tender. And you're right, people don't walk around doing this constantly. Even if you're married for 40 years, this is not happening, but this is a beautiful moment that you captured. So.
And don't you feel that that's the sentiment that you want to remember, particularly today?
On that day, exactly.
Particularly today, couples have so much stress and pressure. There's so many things in life that are trying to pull them apart. Hollywood glamorizes infidelity.
Yeah.
So if you're bickering about whatever, but you can take a moment and look up on the wall and say, hey, that's really what our relationship is all about. That's really what we feel about each other. And I could care less who forgot to bring home the eggs.
Yeah.
Can you tell I forgot to bring home eggs yesterday?
That's beautiful.
Well, and this is, as I say, we don't always get to be at the shoreline.
Yeah.
But when you do, you can kind of capture
really pretty.
everything that's
And
happening through
did
it.
you know that the boat was coming in, the sailboat? Because I'm capturing that in the corner. Is that a sailboat over there?
Yeah, the clipper ship was just happy accident. They happened to be out there.
It was a good accident. Oh my God. So, see, when I look at a photo, I look at the whole image. So I capture everything behind it, and then I focus in on them. But I love the fact that I can see the boat there, the little sailboat over here.
Well, they loved the fact that you could see the fall color because this was an October wedding.
Wow.
And Emily specifically wanted to have fall colors. And of course, there's pine trees there, which don't really change color. So that was really annoying to her. So I had to stretch it out wide enough that you could see the shrubs changing color on things.
Nice.
And for us, we really want to provide an assortment of imagery for our clients. So something like this is a beautiful art piece that can be on the wall, and they're just a small part of it. Whereas the image previous, which was Colleen and Dan, that's about them. That's their portrait. So it's nice to be able to do a lot of things.
And then this one is just a different image. Is that trees?
Good for you for jumping in, because neither one of us really was going to say anything about this. We were just going to sit there and watch it on there for a little bit and enjoy that
I'm
moment.
remembering their story. He was in the military. They actually got married in, I want to say, New Mexico 3
I like
months
his
before
band.
this.
It's a black band, and those are the things that I find you can pick up those interesting pieces. It's not the standard. I'm assuming it's a black band because that's what it looks like to me. And
Yeah, well, you know, so there's a lot of different ways you can kind of show the wedding bands. Of course, obviously, we're going to shoot things beforehand, just in their boxes or in someone's hands. But if we can get them on the couple afterwards, kind of fun. Details of the day.
A little tenderness.
that's pretty. That's the Laurel Hill Chapel,
It is.
and that's one of my favorite
How'd
chapels.
you spy that?
I know that it's beautiful. It's a beautiful chapel.
And a little edgy, a little
I do.
avant-garde style
It's-
imagery.
I like the way she's. I do. I like the way she's sitting and she's posed that way. I think it's the chapel always reminds me of when Carolyn Bessette and Kennedy got married. That little chapel, how pretty it is. It's just and you would never think that this chapel, because it's in the cemetery, but I think it's a wonderful place to get married. It holds 120 people. And it's a great place to photograph because you can tell in this photo. It got me really excited. I love seeing images.
And
of
that's
this
not
place.
her groom, that's her Secret Service agent over in the corner. Or so he was feeling.
Did you pose her like this, or did she pose herself?
yeah, no, we did.
I like it.
We did.
I like the image.
We did. She really
It's
wanted
clever.
something different, but she's a little. Most people are uncomfortable in front of the camera. Most people don't do professional photo shoots every day.
Yeah.
But when clients work with us, because we build a relationship so far ahead, they've got a little bit of trust. And so on their wedding day, we go into it kind of having some idea as to what percentage of different styles they want, how much romantic they want, how much fashion, how much traditional. And so we pushed the envelope a little bit. But this was something that they not only loved and enjoyed, but we did a handful of other things for them in the area that, you know, they wanted to spend a little extra time there, and that's always our favorite part of the day.
I love it too because the green and the way the ivy's coming up the whole chapel is really pretty. I actually like the way he's standing too because he's not looking at her, he's looking across from her, which is
He's
really
too cool.
interesting. Yeah.
You know, everybody likes things about themselves differently, right? And Lucia touched on something a minute ago, which is that we go off with our clients ahead of time for a couple hours. This is on a previous day to do a long romantic session and show them every way we could photograph them on a wedding day. So we know what they like beforehand. Because if we were to try and guess, we'd get it wrong half the time.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see that.
So we don't have guesswork on the wedding day, and they have total peace of mind.
Yeah,
Will and Lucia here, they've got our back. We don't have to think about anything.
that's a good way to be. And there's your beach. Can you smell the ocean?
They actually had a ceremony right on the beach at sunset. It was so pretty.
And you got her to sit on the sand in her wedding dress, which is very good.
And do that after the ceremony. It's
you go.
surprisingly hard to get people to want to get dirt in their dress before the ceremony. I try. Don't think I don't, but people don't
Great
really want to
image.
do it.
It's pretty. That's cute. That's really cute.
So this couple, oh my gosh, they did the most amazing thing. They recorded their own song for their first dance.
With
Really?
their voices.
Oh, wow.
And they went into the recording studio and they sang to each other on that one. And they just wanted kind of unique and different things. And, you know, she's a lawyer in Boston, but she wanted things that were a little
got a very
edgier
pretty
and a
face.
little
Very
different on that one.
Wow.
They want it outside the box. So not
Yeah.
everybody's going to lie down on the golf
That's-
course.
And that's also, is that a golf course?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that the water behind it?
Yep.
So that's up at the Samoset, which is golf on the
Nice.
water.
Rockland, yeah.
That's cute. That's really cute. I love black and whites too. Is
Well-
that an apple orchard or?
It just happens to be one of the elm trees that was on the hill behind them. But another thing is that sometimes people want an image of themselves that's not really showing their faces, right? They want to see that connection. If Lucia and I hold our hands right here, just like this, you don't need to see, you know, the two of us and our faces staring back to know that we're connected.
Yeah.
You can tell it from right here.
And it's a great shot too, because half the time you forget about the back of the dress, and most people put a lot of emphasis on the back of the dress because it's what you see this
Right.
way and what you see during the recession and in the recessional.
And every girl that puts on a wedding dress is always looking at the back. It's like it's important.
Look at that. That's a tender moment.
It's a very tender moment, and they were a little bit younger and a little bit giggly.
You could tell.
But they've had 2 kids since, and they send us Christmas cards every year, and they're like, we still cherish those images that we didn't realize the value of on the day you were taking them. We didn't realize how important they would be.
Do you now for this particular picture? Has this been cropped to go like that? Because it almost feels like it's been tilted.
Well, we actually do that in camera. But the rule is tilt the camera in a direction that you want the viewer's eyes to go, and then it kind of leads that in. Makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah, I like it, yeah.
Well,
I like that.
What's truth is that straight lines are boring in photography. And things that are going straight up and down, rigidly sitting like this, is not actually an interesting shot. So we tend to use a lot of angles, a lot of alternatives.
That's cool. And what's the...
Rain.
That's rain. They got a little rain at the end of their day.
Who cares? That looks great.
They didn't care. They didn't even want to
Oh my
use
God.
the umbrellas. They were just like, no, it's
So
fun.
that's
Let's go
actual
play.
rain?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
And as I say, if it rains, of course, we're still going to play outside.
That's great. And was how'd you get the lighting the way it fell? Is that...
Little backlight.
So Lucia's actually laying on the ground behind, holding a flash up
Are
there.
you really?
She gets all the fun jobs.
Wait, now it's got a little stand for
I
it,
still
but
like
yes.
it better if I can make her lay down the ground.
Underneath the
Everybody enjoys
tree.
watching her lay on the ground. It's perfect on that one. I'm going to
That's
do whatever I
great.
can to make it smooth.
That's cute too.
I'm going to put this clicker down. Let's chat more.
Yeah? Yeah. All right, we're good with the photos there. Tell me, do you have with photos like this, do you have a hard time wrangling the family members in?
Oh, yeah. God, you would think that would be a problem, right? Because that's
They
how
want-
people end up being late and their family's all over. And honestly, we don't have a real issue with it because Lucia's a really good planner.
So you just have
Yeah,
everybody...
We're here.
Yeah,
Well,
perfect.
the thing is Will and I know that over time, those family images will be really important to our clients.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not allowed to go over time on their wedding day.
Yeah.
So having a plan and making sure that everybody knows
Is in
where they're
place.
supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, then we can make it happen fun and quick and everybody gets what they want.
That's sometimes because you're looking for dad and he might be in the bathroom or Uncle Bob's smoking a cigarette and you're like, let's
Flirting
go.
with the
Exactly, the
waiter.
bartender.
And pretty soon the food is delayed in the kitchen and it comes out cold and I don't get referred by the caterer.
How do you feel about hashtagging Instagramming at weddings? I mean, I know that this has become an issue. Brides are stopping people from
I
doing
don't.
photos.
Sometimes the band will have a hashtag out in the parking lot, and I'll have a hit off that. But I don't usually do it. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
I have mixed feelings on that
Yeah.
because on the one hand, I love the enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Weddings are so exciting to your friends and family that they want to share with everyone what's going on. So I love that. But on the other side, I've seen kind of big reveals ruined, where the bride in her dress has been posted before she walks down the aisle, and everyone's in the church looking at pictures of her. And that's not really fair to her.
Yeah.
And as kind of photographers, I know when I carry a camera, I'm not really in the experience.
Yeah.
I lose it. So
Yeah.
I want people to maybe be a little bit more in the moment.
Especially if I think the church, I think that's where you guys should do your thing. And at that moment, that 45 minutes or 30 minutes, just put your phone down. Just put your phone down, enjoy the moment, and let the photography team do what they're
their
doing.
job. So, and our one request is really for iPads because
Leave 'em in the car.
iPads are big, and nobody wants that big screen obstructing their view. And we definitely don't
no
want
idea
it
how
out
often
in the
we've seen it.
aisle. And it's really hard
Big
to use a
grandparent.
magic toothbrush to take that iPad out of the aisle. So that is
awesome.
our one little thing that we try to work around.
How, do you do a lot of advertising through social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all that stuff, Twitter? How do you find
I
that?
didn't even think I knew you could advertise on Twitter or Pinterest.
You're advertising your business
I am
on
just
that.
not that savvy a marketer. I wish I did.
So-
we let all our clients share the images, and on our galleries or our blogs, there's kind of built-in things
Yeah.
for people to post them on any of those things they're going to do.
Do
So
you do the
that's how
pin
that
it
works for
thing
us.
on your
Yep.
photos, so you can
Yep.
pin it right to your Pinterest or their Pinterest or whatever.
So if you consider that we want our clients to do all that sharing of the images that they love, advertising, then yeah, I guess we do it.
Sure, we'll take it.
Cool. And what about venue approvals? Are you on a lot of lists? So
We're on about 30,
places?
Fausto, but we'd love to be
Nice.
on more.
Then we're working on that. So that's a hint. You will. Then
We're,
we'll go to the office.
We're lucky. We get a lot of venues like us because A, we run on time, so their food's served that way. 2, we guarantee everything we do, so they know we'll stand behind our work and they can recommend us with confidence. And Lucia and I both learned in kindergarten that you got to play nice with others. So that kind of helps when you're working with teams.
For me, do you still get excited when you see your photos published in magazines? Because I do. I mean, or your images, or not my images, because I rely on photographers to create these beautiful images. I work within
work,
that.
yeah.
So I still get butterflies, and I get excited like a little kid on Christmas Day. Do you feel the same way when you get a magazine that says, we picked you, and you got your photos?
Yeah, sometimes, but honestly, it's not a huge focus for us.
Really?
Really, we tend to get excited when we see our images hanging in our clients' walls.
That's a good
Because they're the ones that hired us. And so, for us, we spend at least as much time worrying about them as we'd ever worry about for, say, a magazine shoot. Actually, I saw a study in, I think it was the recent Knot, that said that most brides wish their photographers spent as much time photographing them and their fiance as they did the flowers and the plates.
That's
so
interesting.
we try and, kind of take that into concern.
Yeah. And so, which is cool too, because when I see some images of ours, it's just maybe we'll see a couple. I'd like to see more table shots, but that's just me. But then when the magazine shows the bride and the wedding, I'm like, I still get excited because I reminisce on the day. There was a wedding we did at Flanagan Farm, and when I see it, the one thing I remember, it was a beautiful day and it was a beautiful wedding and great people. But I remember going, oh my God, this was the best day in Maine because it was 70 degrees on November 1st.
Oh my gosh.
And and that's what I remember about that day. I remember how beautiful it was. Everybody was happy because it was people that were taking layers and layers of clothes. Because, you can never, in Maine, it's either cold or hot.
So about that, I also think it's important. So Will and I have done this for a long time, and we understand the importance of vendor relationships. But a lot of the images that we take for our vendors, does the bride have to see every single cake picture? Does the bride have to see every single plate picture? So I also feel that there's some editing with our clients in mind, that for them, they want to see the picture of the story of their day. They want to see them and their friends and their families interacting and having fun. And of course they want little pieces of art of all those decisions that they made. But you may have 20 extras that
just
you don't show. You don't have to show
That's a good
her.
point. That's a good point. I just want to work more of these 70-degree November days.
Oh my God, it was
I
beautiful.
haven't had those
It
since
was
I left
absolutely
California, so I'm
beautiful.
really jealous that you do.
absolutely beautiful. It was my first here, and it made up for this whole winter. How far in advance do you book? Do you do like what we do?
That's a great question because there are some times where people will hire us 2 years out, and some dates are more popular than others.
Yeah.
There's also times where people will call us for next month, and sometimes that happens. We've got a wedding on a Tuesday in January of next year booked.
Wow.
That's not going to be a
That's
popular
actually-
date, but that happens.
But weekday weddings are becoming more in. We did one a couple of years back on a Thursday. We did Pearl. We took it over and transformed it into a wedding venue for them.
Fun.
And so that was really cool. But there are a lot of people that are doing Wednesday or Mondays, Tuesdays, because they want the difference of not just being Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
So I don't know if you're finding that.
It's smart, and particularly when people are doing like destination weddings, right? Because Maine's a big destination location. If you're bringing everyone up here, they're probably not just coming up for the weekend anyways.
Exactly.
Why not do it midweek?
And you want your guests to experience everything because it is expensive doing a destination wedding, not just because of the wedding part of it, because your guests are also experiencing that.
The travel, as long as
expensive
they're
part.
coming and they're going to hang out in Maine, give them some time to hang out in Maine.
How do your clients find you? Through advertising, website? What's your best marketing tool for you guys?
A lot through referrals.
Referrals?
Yeah, probably that's where most of our businesses come. Either venues are recommending us or brides are taking out their wedding albums and saying, now that you're engaged, you've got to take a look at our wedding photographers because these guys did all of this stuff for it.
Perfect.
So that's kind of a big point for us. We do a lot of bridal shows.
Oh, we love doing bridal shows. It's a beautiful way to feature our imagery. It's a great way to talk to a lot of people on a given day. And it really allows us to stay current with what's on trend and what brides are looking for.
And you've probably noticed that we're very quiet, subtle, subdued personalities.
I like to
So
talk
this
to
is a
people
great
at
way for people to kind of realize we're going to be the shy ones in the
They're
corner.
a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And so they'll bring a lot of excitement to your wedding. So I thank you for joining us today on Maine Wedding Buzz. As always, keep in mind, Focus Photography, call them. You want to give a shout out to your website, you can. It's going to show up at the end of this show, as well as phone numbers and ways to contact them. So give them a call or stop by their studio. Is it by appointment only?
No, actually, Tuesday through Friday we're open 10 to 6, so people can come in. We've got a wedding gallery, so people can just kind of look around through all the different images there. We've
There
got a
you
whole
go.
assortment of wedding albums out for people to see.
And it's 305 Commercial Street in the Baxter Building.
Awesome. So thank you for
You know all
joining
the
me.
details.
Thank you,
My pleasure.
Fausto.
Thanks.
Yeah. Tune in next week. Awesome
Fun
stuff.
thing to do.